Yo, what's going on, everyone? I'm back here with another video. It's Spec coming right at you, and as many of you do know, as you can tell by the title right here, Sting is officially back with TNA Wrestling. Really disappointed by that. If you're watching this video prior to looking at the Fayetteville show that's going to be coming up on March the 3rd, 2011, I apologize, but I really felt like I should get out this video right now. I know several people on YouTube and really around the internet wrestling community is already discussing this, so it really isn't a surprise to many of us who really follow the business via the internet or via social networking or whatever, that Sting will be winning the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship from Jeff Hardy, who I feel shouldn't even have the belt in the first place, at the so-called live Impact show in Fayetteville, North Carolina, on March the 3rd. You know, there's been much discussion about Sting in the wrestling community over the last, I'd say, four or 5 weeks since the WWE first began their 221 promo, which, as we all know now, is The Undertaker / Triple H. That were the focal points to that promo, and we saw play out on Raw this past Monday, on the 21st of February, of course, for their big match at WrestleMania, so to speak, Triple H and The Undertaker. And TNA did something, I don't really know if you can call it interesting. It was, many people call it a parody, but I don't really think it was a parody. I think TNA was actually being extremely serious about this, but they wanted to do it in a little lighthearted way, their own way of, I don't know, sticking it to the WWE or wanting to copy the WWE to generate some sort of response. Well, they pretty much did that with their 3-3-11 promo, which was basically a knockoff of what the WWE did for The Undertaker in the 221 promo. Rain shattering down, and you have barbells, and you have cages and stairways and all this BS. You know how TNA operates. They copy almost everything the WWE does, but they do it on a very minor scale. Well, anyway, that promo aired at the end of Impact tonight, as I record this video right now, on the 24th of February. And I just was laughing. It was so bad and so horrible that it was funny. I just thought it to be hysterically funny. By looking at all of the dirt sheets and whatever, it's obvious that the person in that video is Sting, and that's the person that they're going to promote. But I have a lot of things to get off my chest about Sting and TNA. For TNA, I really don't know how long this company's really going to last anymore. You know, it's gotten to the point that almost everything that they do on a big storyline perspective is just sad. It's really, I mean, I've gotten to the point where I don't even like to criticize them in bunches anymore, because their product is just so out of whack and in shambles. It's just sad. And for them to put all of their chips, so to speak, on Sting, a guy who's 51 or so years old, who's been in TNA for the last 6+ years and has done next to nothing relevant for that company in terms of building them up, making them a bigger player in this business. You pay him all of this damn money, and you're getting hardly anything in return, and you're so ecstatic about getting this guy back who you do nothing with, and on top of that, you give him the World Heavyweight Championship, your top title, on his return, his billionth return, against Jeff Hardy, who I said earlier in this video should not even be the champion. With all of his legal issues and stuff that's going on around with Jeff Hardy in his life, and you're giving him the world title, and you're not keeping it on a guy like Mr. Anderson, who obviously gravitates towards that little small fan base that TNA seems to have, the one fan base that they're clinging to, a guy who can bring you out of that fan base and to get other fans into your product, and you just make him a transitional champion, and on top of that, you give Sting the championship. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. All because there was some big hype in the internet that Sting could have possibly been in the WWE. So you want to play off that fame and that recognition of Sting to give him the championship as if he's some big deal. And that will contribute to huge ratings for your company. This is the problem with TNA Wrestling. Short-term thinking. Not really smartly planned out. Because what are you going to do in the next several weeks after he's champion? How are you going to push your product? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because that nostalgia about Sting, if there's any left, because we do live in the world of the internet, things do get out. So this isn't really going to be a surprise to many people. And plus, this is so-called taped. It doesn't make any sense. It's not very, very good smart planning or booking on TNA's part, but we're kind of used to that, aren't we? Now let's get to Sting. As I mentioned before, Sting, you're in your early 50s, man. You're at a point in your life where you would really be... I was Sting, and I had achieved so much in this business. I have been a huge marquee name in this business for so long, and I've been stuck in. Not necessarily stuck. I've chosen to be in TNA, to take their money, to do a light schedule, to really do nothing and give nothing back in return. Where that is really significant toward TNA and not necessarily yourself. The one chance that I have that's just right for me to at least negotiate with the WWE and to be in serious negotiations with them, something that doesn't really necessarily have to be thought out extremely, extremely long and well, to come up with some sort of deal to be in the WWE, to play off that nostalgia that was building up around the internet wrestling community and really around the entire wrestling business, for you to go to the WWE, to really reinstate your name, so to speak, in the consciousness of wrestling fans that really don't watch TNA, who don't know TNA Wrestling, but they remember WCW, and they remember who you were, and they've been wondering where you've been all of these years. And really to restore, I should say is a good word for it, your legacy in this business, to go to the WWE, work on a really light schedule, do a lot of promotional things with the WWE, work with WWE Classics on Demand, have a video project of yourself, a 4-disc release or whatever, the anthology of WCW Nitro. I know they got DDP doing that, but you know, stuff of that nature. There were so many options for him left to go to the WWE. And I really think that now that window is closed for Sting. He's had so many opportunities to go to the WWE. And I mentioned this on my spec commentaries video on Sting, possibility of Sting and Undertaker at WrestleMania 27, as we now know that would not happen. That one of the biggest reasons why Sting didn't ever go to the WWE is because he always feared that his character would be buried in the WWE, and that it will be a very long time for him to be reestablished to the wrestling community, simply because the WWE has a long history of getting guys who are not WWE guys and not putting their full effort behind them upon their arrival in the company. And that, I mean, Sting referenced Booker T, which was absolutely correct in many ways, I believe. Although The Rock did the promo that day in 2001 when Booker T arrived in the company and said basically, "Who are you? What is your name?" You gotta understand that's The Rock, and that's how he operates with everybody. But I could see Sting's point back then when he made those comments. Now, years later, WWE is more of a PG environment company. There's very few guys left in the wrestling business that was a part of WCW and ECW that have not gone to the WWE. And, you know, that last big name guy from the Attitude Era / WCW and ECW hardcore era, the late 1990s, and really in the 90s in general, that haven't been in the WWE, and that it's that last big attraction that fans want to see. You know, we saw that with Goldberg back in 2003 when he arrived in WWE. You know, we've seen this with guys before. Some have worked and some haven't. But Sting's that one name that everybody would have really loved to see in the WWE in some capacity. given the certain circumstances that we have seen transpire over the last month or so with Sting in the WWE and the rumors and TNA, I'm very, very hard pressed to believe that we'll ever see Sting in the WWE in the future, near or long term. For some reason, the guy just does not want to maximize his legacy by going to the WWE, instead choosing the easier way out and going to TNA, collecting their money, doing as little as he can, not caring about his legacy, not giving a damn about it, not giving a damn about improving his name and his name value and his worth value among millions and millions of fans, re-educating fans who have forgotten about him and fans who don't know anything about him, but because they watch the WWE product, they would know. And they would be reminded, some will be reminded that they have forgotten about who Sting was in WCW. Not this horrible retread Sting that we see in TNA. And I know he's got a new he's got a new costume or whatever you want to call attire that he's coming to the ring with. But, you know, Sting, I've seen the pictures, but Sting, man, when I think about Sting nowadays and seeing all the events that's transpired right here, I just don't see his worth in TNA. Matter of fact, I'm pretty positive that he doesn't have any worth in TNA anymore. You know, he may be popular for several fans out there who pay attention to TNA, but it's not like TNA is getting the word out about their product to many, many outlets. They're just a horrible company when it comes to communications and public relations and media management. They're just horrid when it comes to those things. And I would think if you're Sting, you're in your early 50s at this point of your career, you know, your legacy is really all you have left in wrestling is what people remember you by. And not only that, Sting could definitely make a whole hell of a lot more money doing a lot of side projects and stuff like that with the WWE instead of doing this go-around with TNA and getting their hopes up for something that's just never going to happen. Yes, TNA, you put the world's title over a 51-year-old man in Sting. But keep this in mind. What are you going to do in the subsequent weeks with your product to build your product up to the point where everything will have a nice flow with Sting as your champion? Let's face it, folks. Sting's not going to be there forever. You've been treading this water with Sting and guys like a Kurt Angle and a lot of the WWE guys for a very, very long time without making your homegrown talent. And for all of you out there who are still talking about Samoa Joe and AJ Styles being the top guys of the company and that they're young stars, they've been a part of TNA for nearly a decade now, and you've seen what has transpired with them over that time span. They are not big name stars. They have not put TNA on that next level yet, and not all of that is their fault. Most of that is on TNA Creative. But when TNA does stuff like this, it just makes you realize why people have so many negative connotations towards this wrestling company. It doesn't make sense. Sting in the WWE makes a whole hell of a lot of sense for both parties. TNA Sting just do not make any more sense right now. That relationship should have been severed a long time ago, and especially when Sting's contract ran out the last time around. TNA resigning Sting just doesn't make any sense to me at all. What do you guys and gals think about that? Thanks for watching the video. I just wanted to get that off my chest while it was still fresh. And I hope y'all have a really good one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace out.